Welcome back everybody, my name is Eltimar and we are going to be reading the Codex entries for monsters. We're going to start with the Summoner and go down from there. So, the Summoner, a cunning adversary, is primarily a defensive summoning unit. As the demon horde swarms the enemy, the Summoner sustains the battle by opening a rift to hell and calling forth reinforcements. To prevent feeling overrun by the relentless horde, the Summoner should become a primary target in any battle strategy. When directly challenged in combat, the Summoner is capable of channeling hell energy into an Argent Wave. Although this wave kills most humans, an occasional victim will be transformed into the possessed. Surviving an Argent Wave attack is extremely unlikely, but does not appear to be random. There is evidence that a Summoner selects the most resilient of all combatants for induction into the army of hell. The Lazarus Project has managed to successfully capture several Summoner demons. The imprisonment process requires careful preparation, as the Summoner will immediately launch multiple Argent Wave attacks when trapped. To prevent this, hell energy must be continuously drained from the demon until it is sufficiently sedated. Anatomical studies of the Summoner's form indicate that it is a highly evolved subgenus of the imp form. The Baron of Hell. The Baron of Hell is the highest demon among the Order of the Hell Knights. They rarely leave Hell, and no Baron of Hell has yet been captured by any of the tethering operations. Details regarding their behavior and physiology are therefore limited. It is clear that the Barons are ferocious fighters, with a bloodlust unparalleled by any other demon. Barons, larger and faster than their lesser brothers, also possess the ability to generate hell energy fireballs, which can be hurled at a target. In the doomed Project Lazarus manned expedition, MTC 2145-128, it is believed that most of the explorers were set upon by Barons of Hell, though the details are unclear. Tablets retrieved from the Great Step in the UAC Automated Survey of 2143 suggest that the Barons of Hell are the current royal guard of the unknown Dark Lord of the Fourth Age. While the nature of this entity is unknown, it must be presumed that as the royal guard's power has significantly increased, so too has the power of their master. Cacodemons are monstrous psionic demons driven by the desire to feed. They display limited intelligence, but are often sent into the fray, as their natural size and abilities make them an intimidating weapon for the demon horde. When a cacodemon senses the presence of the living, it will hunt them relentlessly until it gets close enough to gnaw on them using an impressive set of mandibles. To aid the hunt, the cacodemon has the psychoactive narcotic bile which it spews at range. On contact, this bile inhibits the perception of the target and compromises movement. The effects wear off after a few moments, which is often enough time for the lumbering beast to get within bite range. Cyberdemon. Considered to be the most significant marker of success in the development of Argent organic research, the Cyberdemon is the flagship creation of the Lazarus Project. The symbiotic union of a Baelguard demon, found during the second Project Lazarus manned expedition, MTC 2148-177, and an Argent accumulator, this beast is capable of withstanding so much punishment that the creature must be kept in a permanent suspended animation. Repeated attempts to subdue the beast proved unsuccessful, as when exhausted, the Cyberdemon simply replenishes its life force from the accumulator and attacks again with greater ferocity. Only by removing the Argent implant can the beast be restrained. The Cyberdemon remains in stasis until a suitable method of control can be found. The Codex tablets discovered during the UAC Automated Survey of 2143 mentioned an ancient battle in the Titan's realm during the Third Age. An expedition to the plains recovered several relics, including the petrified remains of a massive Shadow Lord believed to be an ancient Baelguard demon. Researchers in the Lazarus labs began work on piecing the creature back together. At first, the project mandate was to construct an educational and inspirational exhibit. However, the focus quickly shifted when an attempt to meld the petrified tissue uncovered that exposure to small doses of plasmatic Argent energy would reanimate the relic. The potential of creating a living, growing tissue from the relic and the lure of an ultimate battle demon was too enticing to pass up. The project team quickly shifted direction and began to work on melding the ancient remains with high-tech weaponry. During the Cyberdemon reanimation project, the beast was kept alive by controlling the amount of plasmatic and Argent energy it received. This kept the beast in an effectively brain-dead state, while additional components were cybernetically implanted. A neural pathway was created between the creature's brain and the Argent accumulator, allowing the creature to administer Argent power to any part of its body as needed. In hindsight, this neural pathway was a mistake, as once the pathway was activated, the dormant beast immediately administered an Argent surge to the medulla oblongata, which allowed it to restore motor function. Once active, the circulatory system quickly restored, and the beast achieved full motor function within a few minutes. It is only through the bravery of follower Jacobson that the beast was contained. Follower Jacobson willingly gave his own life as bait when he lured the giant Cyberdemon into holding pen 6, where it could be contained. Unfortunately, there was no way to retrieve Jacobson once the doors had been bolted, and he was sacrificed. Oops. A report following the incident suggested that this act was not instinct by the Cyberdemon, but rather a suggestion of a greater intelligence governing the will of any creature demon born, a mastermind of sorts. Research on this theory continues. Next one is the Hell Knight. The Hell Knight is a towering brute bred for combat deep in the bowels of hell. These diabolical beasts are the prize gladiators of the demon horde. They relentlessly stomp towards their target, smashing their massive fists into the ground to create shockwaves that stagger their opponent and leave them vulnerable to the bone-crushing melee attacks. The Hell Knight's powerful legs allow it to leap across large distances, effortlessly closing the gap to its enemies. Tablets retrieved from the Great Step in the UAC Automated Survey of 2143 suggest that the Hell Knights originally flanked the Great Serpent during the First Age. After their master was defeated by the Guardian, the Hell Knights were placed in the arenas of Hell, where they would feed on any victims thrown to them by the demon overlords as sport. It is now believed that they guard the most sacred and important relics in the Netherworld. These imps. These ferocious and agile demons are found all over Hell and are often used on the front line in a concerted attack in either dimension. They revel in battle and feeding off their victims when the hunger takes them. Despite their low status among the demon ranks and their seemingly endless numbers, imps have a unique characteristics in battle. Some prefer fighting from an elevated position, while others will rush their target and swipe at them with razor-sharp claws. Walls and obstacles offer no defense against the imps, as they will leap great heights and easily hang from surfaces. The imp is capable of channeling hell energy through its hands and shaping it into a projectile. As the imp channels the energy, airborne particles and debris are sucked into the maelstrom to create the condensed superheated fireball. The mechanics of the imp's range attack suggest that they are actually a lower form of the summoner. Lost Soul. These demons are found wandering aimlessly within the temples of hell, as they search for a host to inhabit. When a potential victim is found, they will converge on the target and explode with a blast of hell energy. Lesser world beings, weakened by the explosion, will then be possessed by the demon, and the host's soul becomes lost in turn. Tablets retrieved from the Codex suggest that the lost souls are considered the lowest form of demons, even lower than imps. Since the wandering nomads doomed forever to roam the halls of hell thrive on the weakest entities, lost souls are despised by other demons. Despite their lowly status, they should not be underestimated. Man Cubist. The Man Cubist is a lumbering behemoth demon. A foul odor accompanies its presence, a stench that can be overwhelming if inhaled directly. Mancubi gorge on anything they can find and are not adverse to eating rancid flesh. Their diet rots in their digestive system, making their innards highly flammable. These foul creatures are decked in light armor when they reach maturity, but their grotesque frame soon outgrows the armor, exposing their stomach and face. Mancubi have taken their distinguished physical condition and turned it into a weapon. As they reach maturity, a chitinous growth begins to form over each hand, creating a hard-shelled barrel. As the flesh inside decomposes, a noxious effluvium begins to leak from the barrel. The Mancubus can spew this discharge from the barrel over a remarkable distance. The volatile goo ignites under the tremendous pressure, creating a highly effective biomechanical flamethrower. Their bizarre physiology can also be their undoing. The putrid skin covering their soft belly is easily pierced. When exposed, their organs will explode violently, showering sizable area with their revolting and toxic innards. Pinkies. These demonic animals are unnamed by those in hell. They were colloquially named Pinkies due to their unusual skin pigmentation. When first discovered by the Lazarus Project's tethering operation, MTC 2146-351, their aggressive nature against the living is well documented. Pinkies will charge once their prey is detected, using a cortical bone plate that covers their face as a battering ram. They accelerate quickly, but have limited control when charging. Their inability to stop quickly or turn makes them vulnerable to charging over ledges or into a hard surface, stunning them. At close range, the Pinky has a significant bite which it will use to fend off attackers. They have limited visual perception and rely primarily on pheromone detection to locate enemies. The thinner skin on their flanks does not offer as much protection and should be considered a point of weakness. Gnawed carcasses of Pinkies have been extracted from portals, suggesting that they are considered a delicacy in hell. Revenant. Revenants are UAC military operatives that have been methodically transformed into demonic combatants through cybernetic augmentation and repeated Lazarus Wave exposure. The transformation begins by attaching a multi-launch rocket battery, MLRB, onto each shoulder of the patient, coupled to an argent-charged neurobiochip implanted at the base of the cerebral cortex. The MLRB allows the Revenant to both attack its target with multiple conventional rockets, and also to fire mobility boosters located under each MLRB. The MLRB implant operation is conducted with the patient in an ante-mortem state, and without anesthesia. It is imperative the patient develops neural recognition of the augments before expiration. Once a neural connection with the implants has been established, the patient is repeatedly exposed to a Lazarus Wave blast to induce death and transform the subject into a Revenant. As with Hell Soldiers, Revenants exhibit advanced combat tactics that include range control, vertical combat governance, and rush targets. During the initial development of the Revenant program, a curious side effect of Lazarus Wave exposure was discovered. The Argent energy held within the plasmatic isotopes of the Lazarus Wave mutates ocean proteins, resulting in rapid skeletal growth. The expansion of the bone matter results in avulsion of the skin and connective tissue. The flesh is literally torn from the bones. As the skeleton continues to grow, the exposed internal organs begin to decompose. After several weeks of intense pain for the patient, the skeletal growth stops, resulting in a 3-meter beast comprised entirely of bone. The height varies depending on patient's original physiology. Despite this physical or bizarre biological structure, the Revenant appears to bear no ill effects. So they literally made the Revenants good. Possessed Soldier. While Lazarus Wave exposure does effectively wipe any vestige of human behavior for most of its victims, some subjects continue to display tactical cognizance posthumously. As with possessed engineers, this does not appear to be random. If an individual has training in combat, as part of the UAC military, the Lazarus Wave event will transform them into more than mere slaves. This anomaly further supports the theory that there is some form of genetic coding embedded within the Lazarus Wave particles which governs the outcome of Lazarus Wave exposure on a per-case basis. No other entries for that one. Hell Guards. The borderlands between the Titan's realm and the Great Steppe is home to one of the most ferocious demons yet found, the Biomech Hellguard. While there has been no direct human contact with this beast, it was discovered by scoutbots during the second Project Lazarus tethering operation, MTC 2147-016. Confronting this demon signaled the end of the expedition, but the scoutbots did manage to send data to the relay beacons before they were destroyed. A detailed study of the few video frames that were captured before the equipment was destroyed revealed that the Hellguard is actually a parasite housed within a bone and keratin exoskeleton. The parasite is imbued with enormous quantities of Hell energy and provides power to the Hellguard, controlling its actions entirely. Before entering the exoskeleton, the Hellguard exoskeleton is a lifeless husk. Attempts to retrieve the parasite alone have proved fruitless, as the uncoupled demon is too weak to survive passage between dimensions. Once coupled, however, the demon presents a daunting and relentless enemy. The Possessed. The Possessed are created in a Lazarus Wave event, the phenomenon first discovered by Dr. Olivia Pierce during her Lazarus project. While most victims exposed to Argent biowaves will expire without further effect, some subjects will absorb traces of Argent energy and enter a state of posthumous vigor. Despite necrosis of the internal organs, with the exception of the brain, the victim continues to animate and exhibit a low order of sentience for weeks or even months after clinical death. Posthumous brain activity in the Possessed is limited to instinctive behavior. The Possessed are known to be territorial when confronted by the living. When isolated, they will often enter a dormant state for extended periods of time. They will stand unmoving for days or weeks at a time until presented with a live food source or threatened by a predator. An interesting behavior has been seen when the Possessed are held in small groups. They will drag human corpses to a central location within their holding pens, and then perform a silent ritual around the pile of bodies. The resulting ceremonial site appears to be the initial stages of a gore nest. These actions must be driven by a telepathic communication with higher-ranking demons, as there is no local brain activity that can manage such choices. The Possessed will perform these tasks even when limbs are removed, or Pavlovian pain responders are implemented in their cortex, further cementing the theory that they are unwilling slaves performing an integral part of life cycle for the demons. The Possessed create the birthing ground for new demons, and upon expiration are themselves used as a fertilizer for the gore nest. We still have many more to go. Possessed Engineer. During a Lazarus Wave event, victims undergo dramatic changes to their physiology, both internally and externally. Aside from fundamentally changing the composition of their internal organs, The high-intensity plasma wave is strong enough to fuse metal to skin. In many cases, personal items such as watches and jewelry can burn through the skin and become permanently embedded in the victim. Perhaps the most unfortunate victims of this fusing event are any subjects that happen to be working with acetylene tanks or welding equipment, as this equipment is often attached to the body to allow for mobile work in low-gravity environments. The Lazarus Wave will create a demonized human with a highly combustible explosive device embedded in its skin. As with all possessed, they are mindless and driven through some form of telepathic communication from an unknown demon overseer. Additional care must be taken when confronting a possessed engineer. If the fuel tank is punctured and it doesn't explode, the weakened container can turn the possessed engineer into an explosive projectile. This is a danger to any being nearby, both human and demon. The Unwilling. The Unwilling are fully transformed possessed that have been transported to Hell to serve as shrine worshippers, slave labor for higher level demons, or cannon fodder for a battle within Hell. Hellraisers. The Hellraiser is an astute and tactical foe that will engage enemies from a distance with a powerful beam of unrefined hell energy. The beam emanates from an arm-like protrusion composed of cartilage and other osseous tissue. Articulation of the cartilage allows the Hellraiser to focus its energy beam into a single charged shot that will obliterate anything that stands in its path. Recent dissection of a captured Hellraiser has revealed a remarkable embryogenesis. Between the 3rd and 8th week of development, a parasitic Hellraiser will seek out a suitable host to cremate from within. As the Hellraiser matures, the host's arm ossifies into a beast or beam weapon. Simultaneously, the pyrolyzed host becomes capable of withstanding the extreme temperatures generated during the repeated accumulation of Hell energy. The Hellraiser has not yet been observed outside of Hell, and further investigation is planned for the next tethering operation. Possessed Security. Possessed security units exhibit the most complex battle strategies of all possessed humans, including mobile shield advances towards the enemy and firing while in defilade. Whatever. Possessed security will also drop their shields to adopt a more accurate firing stance at the cost of lowering their defense. There's a second entry. Possessed security will keep an optimal distance from its target. If the target gets too close, the possessed security will attack with a ferocious shield bash, then retreat to a preferred engagement range. Possessed security have been observed using the DS-117 UAC shotgun and shield outfit, which suggests that their ranks are exclusively created for members of a special force military unit called the UAC Neo-Phalanx. The Neo-Phalanx is used exclusively as a military defense for remote UAC colonies. Cyberman Cubist. The Mancubist strain of demon has long been subject of fascination among Lazarus Project scientists. Eager to understand the biology of these creatures, a team of biogenicists, led by Pierce herself, was formed to research and manipulate the behavior and effect of the creatures. The work of Dr. Pierce and her biogenicists proved successful, and several cybernetic mancubi are currently held in captivity within the Lazarus Project laboratories. They are held under the strictest UAC security protocols, so there's no chance of an escape. Citation needed. The cybernetic Mancubist differs from his naturally occurring brethren in several ways. The chitinous growth of each arm has been replaced with a UAC developed rifling barrel, which allows the Mancubist to fire his bile at much greater distances. The resulting ejection, however, does not ignite. The bile is still highly toxic and will quickly poison any organic creature it hits. Their behavior has also been modified to make them favor a longer engagement distance to complement their long-range bio-sniping weapon. While attempts have been made to provide better-fitting armor to these cybernetic monsters, they invariably outgrow their uniform within a few weeks, so they still have a weird stomach. And finally, the Specter. The Specter is the unfortunate result of a misguided attempt to genetically modify the Pinky. Several Pinkies were gathered during the first Lazarus Project tethering operation, MTC 2146351. 4 of the captured beasts were vivisected, while 3 of these experiments resulted in the death of the subjects. One resulted in a Pinky with limited psionic capabilities. In an attempt to increase its ocular capacity, the optic nerve of the cacodemon was transplanted into the Pinky. After the operation, the animal was returned to its enclosure to recover. It is believed the beast was accidentally released from its pen when its keeper, thinking the invisible Spectre had escaped, opened the gate. Several months after the first Spectre went missing, the second tethering operation captured 2 fertile specimens. Presumably, the original Spectre wandered into the Lazarus Wave testing facility and was teleported back to Hell by a summoner. It is unknown how the Spectre managed to breed, but the psionic trait has carried to the offspring. Besides psionic invisibility, there are no known differences between the Pinky and the Spectre. The final monster is the Spider Mastermind. The first Project Lazarus tethering operation, MTC-2146351, retrieved a small compendium from the Umbral Plains in the crypt of a destroyed tower of unknown construction, artifact reference PLE2M8. This Vademecum was mostly illegible, but it did contain one of the rare references to the Ariana Imperatrix, a mystical demon that is still largely unknown. When the gate is opened, in the Fourth Age, when we have risen and when the Masters have shown us the path, she will come. A great blessing will be given to the keyholder, for they will become one with the Master, and in that holy union, the power of the Dark Priest will be unleashed upon the heretics of the penumbral plane. The Ariana Imperatrix, carried in the mind of all those who follow, fed from the blood of those who fell, made with bone of rock, iron, steel, and sinew, a mighty god to rule over all other gods. One become two, become legion. And that is the last of the monsters. That's going to be the end of our monster lore. Stay tuned for the other episodes. Take care, guys.